Psychedelic psilocybin mushrooms changed my life, bro. I'll just be honest. Psilocybin psychedelic mushrooms changed my life. They opened me up to a new perspective I didn't even know was possible at such a young age. Before I get into this video, I just want to preface this with a warning that this is not me telling you to go do psychedelic mushrooms. It is classified as a Class A substance or whatever they label it as in the United States of America. So it's a felony if you get caught with it, or at least a certain amount of it. So yes, it's an illegal substance. And there's a lot of debate around it, but I'm going to get into that. But this is not my recommendation. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your psychologist. I'm not your psychiatrist. I'm not your fucking therapist, okay? But it's about my experience purely. That's it. Now, my experience with psychedelic mushrooms began in high school, okay? And for most people, this is insane. This is an insane fact to hear about because it's like you're in high school, you're supposed to be doing your homework, partying. I mean, the most partying you're doing is like drinking beer, right? That's like the stereotype, especially in America. It's like drink the Budweiser, get drunk, go to the stupid parties, American Pie style. But no, not me, dude. I got into weed 15 years old and sophomore year, and dude, I immediately started, a couple months into smoking weed every day. I immediately got addicted, by the way. But a couple of months into me smoking weed, I started getting curious, like, what do all these other substances feel like, you know? LSD, my buddy's talking about LSD, like he's done it all through middle school, and it's fucking fun, and you see I start looking up these videos, and I get into it. I'm like, hold on a minute, should I do this? I think back to what my mom and dad and Dare told me as a kid. It's like, don't do drugs. It doesn't matter what they are. They're all gateway weeds, and you know, weed is a gateway drug. But at this point, dude, in my head, I was like, dude, I already did the gateway drug. I already did weed. I'm already through the gates. Why not traverse further and see what's behind this door? Little did I know that was stupid, but also it turned me into the person I am today. Like, I wouldn't be here making these videos for you guys if it weren't for these drug experiences. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. I decided to try LSD. Now that's gonna be for a different video. I'm not gonna talk about my LSD experience today, but that was the first psychedelic experience that I ever had was LSD. Okay, if you don't know what LSD is, acid lysergyl diethylamide. I don't even know how to fucking say it, dude, I'll be honest. But LSD, yes, so that is the chemical compound. In the streets, it's called acid. So if you've ever heard about people taking acid, it's a psychedelic. It's very similar to mushrooms. The way they derive it is from ergot, which is, a type of fungi, just like mushrooms. Anyway, back to the mushrooms. I ended up doing acid a couple times, and eventually it led me down the hole to do psychedelics half a year, 8 months later. And I was doing it with one of my tweaker friends. He was a fucking little tweaker, like Adderall tweaker type kid. Drug addict, fucking doing heroin at 16, you know what I mean? 15, 16, idiot, straight idiot. I mean, no judgment to people who've gone through heroin addiction and whatnot, but you shouldn't be doing that shit at 16. I ended up doing it with this kid. We fucking ground it up into tea, like brisk tea. That shit was disgusting. If you've never done mushrooms, that shit tastes horrible. It fucking tastes horrible. And if you don't digest it right, like if you don't truly ground it up or like cook it into something like a smoothie or a peanut butter sandwich or something, you're going to feel it later because it's obviously sort of poisonous. It's going to make you feel nauseous. You're going to throw it up. So you might as well digest it easier, because if you swallow it in chunks, you're not going to be able to digest it very well. But anyway, the first thing that you feel on the come up of mushrooms, you start to feel connected to nature. You start to feel a part of this. It's the weirdest thing ever, and a lot of this isn't really describable by words. It's describable by experience and feeling only. But that's the best way I can describe it. On the come up, you start to feel connected to nature. You start to, like, the outside world, your egoic identity of the outside world starts to fade away. Your egoic identity of the world starts to fade away, and the real world isn't always what it has been for you, right? McDonald's ain't McDonald's. Like, you're not even thinking about the corporate world. You're not thinking about your past experiences. You're not thinking about your personality, your likes, your interests, your disinterests, who you hate. It all sort of fades away. Like, you're sort of fading out of your immediate reality. Now, yes, you're still alive and you're not in fucking la la land, at least not at a low dosage. I've never taken anything higher than 4.5 grams, so I wouldn't really know. But I've heard that you do, like, traverse into other dimensions and live other lives if you do enough, a mega dose. But I'm talking about low doses, in this video. That's what I did. This first trip was 3 grams, I think. Anyway, I start fading out of reality. That's what happens. I forget, not who I am, but, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I have to think about who I am. It's like, I didn't forget, but it's like, who am I? Oh, I'm Bailey. And I go here, and I work here, but you're kind of disconnected. It doesn't feel like you anymore. It's like, yeah, at the time, I think I worked at Little Caesars. It's like, 16 in high school. Like, yeah, my name's Bailey. I work at Little Caesars. I go to high school, and my friend Spencer, and this is Zaid next to me, and what am I doing here? I did mushrooms. I've been addicted to weed for the last year, and life's gone by fast. And my ex-girlfriend, I miss her right now, and I wish I could say so. Like, you just start like disconnecting, but also like reflecting on your life. It's like you're able to observe it from an outside perspective. And honestly, that's the greatest gift of the mushrooms to me. And that's the reason I do them every year. Like, you know, my annual trip, whenever I feel called to it again, it's because I get that after reflection. I get that after feeling of like, what am I doing in my life? Am I doing it right? It gives you reflection from a non-emotional, egoic perspective, if that makes sense, right? It's like asking your family member for advice for relationships. You don't really want to do that because they have their own personal opinions and rhetoric of you from years gone by, right? Like, so they're not the best person to ask because they have these, what's it called? Confirmation bias. So it kind of gets rid of the confirmation bias when you're doing these trips. Anyway, yeah, I started reflecting on my life and I was like, holy shit, what got me in this position? Why am I even hanging out with this fucking jackass? He's done some evil shit. Like, he killed his hamster when he was high on fucking cough syrup. Like, this motherfucker was crazy. I gotta make a fucking story time about this fucking guy, but fuck, dude, I've done some dumb shit with him. But anyway, you know, I'm just reflecting on my life and fucking, I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? Why do I harbor anger issues? And then I start to like process every fucking piece of emotional trauma from my past and everything I've ever gone through and how it connects to who I am right now and how it's still affecting me. Like the computer programming, like when you put programming in a computer, it kind of dictates how the computer runs forever until you delete that program, delete that programming and replace it. So that's what's going on in your brain when you're doing mushrooms. It's sort of like a hardwire software reset, kind of both, right? The hardware and the software. Now, as you start to get into it, you're reflecting, you kind of go through a sad phase. Now, a lot of people, when they have bad trips, they go through the sad phase throughout the entire thing. Now, again, this is my experience. It completely varies for most people. I mean, it's generally similar, but obviously the specifics vary. But anyway, in my experience, I start getting into the sad part of it, right? Like where I'm like regretting everything I did to my ex-girlfriend at the time, where I regretted how I treated my family, the fact that I got into marijuana, into drugs, hanging out with these bad people, the fact that I was such an asshole and I had such a dirty mouth. I was just a shitty person with negative energy. I ran away from home on a skateboard like an idiot. Like, you know what I mean? There's a spider crawling on me right now. You know, I just started reflecting on my life and I was like, dude, I'm not a good person. Like, and when you're feeling this, if you have a trip and you're like feeling like, oh, I'm not a good person, when you're tripping on these mushrooms, LSD, whatever it is, you don't hate yourself, right? Like I said, you're still disconnected from your ego, your identity, emotionally disconnected, and psychologically as well. But you no longer, like, you don't hate yourself. You're viewing it from a place of logic and honestly a place of love. Like, there's still emotion there, but it's from a place of love. It's like, I love myself. So why am I going to continue to be this person? That's where all the healing comes from in these trips. Like, let me tell you, that's where the healing comes from. It's realizing your flaws, realizing what went wrong, realize what you need to change right now in your life and actually apply it. But instead of applying it with hate, like most of us do in the sober state, it forces you to apply it in like a loving way. I have love, I have pure spirit. That's what's so beautiful about the substance, right? And again, this is all my opinion. Do not take this as a recommendation. That's why I love it. That's why I love mushrooms. And even my bad trips. I've had a bad trip where like, okay, recently, I'm going to talk about my trip recently. Last October, I'm in Utah. So last October, the reason I say I'm in Utah is because we went to Alta. I had a buddy trip sent me. And we went up to Alta because I wanted a trip while seeing all the fluorescent leaves. Like, these aren't fluorescent, it's October right now. But like up in Alta, the ski resort, it is fucking beautiful. Fluorescent orange, and I was like, dude, on mushrooms is gonna be sick. And honestly, I wasn't really expecting to get much out of this trip, more for fun and like a hard drive reset, which, by the way, never go into a mushroom trip without a good intention. That was a stupid intention, and you're not gonna fucking die, but you could definitely have a really bad trip if you go in with the wrong intentions, especially at a high dose. So just be aware and be careful and have good intentions when you're going into these. But my intention was have fun. I go up there just to be like mesmerized and get the creativity juices out of it, you know, fucking dumb, right? But you know, we go up there and we meet my sister up there, and like, dude, I could see the parts of my sister that even probably she couldn't see. And it's like, and I felt the energy of my buddy who was trip sitting me. And I was like, dude, everyone's got this like hidden identity they don't even know about, this programming. And it's like, they have not flaws in a bad way, but they have like they hate themselves and they have all this traumatic experience, and it causes them to have a hard time loving themselves, the world, and others, dude. And that hurt to see. And you're probably going to notice that if you ever do mushrooms, but like, that hurt to see. It's like, dude, my sister went through all this shit and I didn't even know about it. And it's like, maybe I'm just making assumptions right now, but that's what it felt like, you know. That's what I could observe and witness out of it. And dude, it made me sad. And it's like, dude, I've been a bad person to these people. I've contributed to that. And again, the self-reflection starts just like the last, you know, just like my first trip right there that we just talked about. But the reason I bring up this trip is because I don't know if it was because random chance that I had a deja vu during a psychedelic experience. But dude, like at the beginning of it, I believe it was the beginning of it, dude, we're driving past this fucking school over here in Lehi, Utah. Just go away, whatever, in Lehi, Utah. And dude, I got like, you know how you feel deja vu and it's not a big deal? Dude, on psychedelics, I don't know what it was. I don't know if this whole trip was a deja vu and it was on purpose for God to show me, or the universe to show me something. But dude, like this immense feeling of deja vu that flashed over my body, and it wasn't cool. It wasn't like familiar. Like it was familiar, but it was too familiar. It was fucking horrifying. And it made me sad. It's like, dude, it literally made me feel like I'm living my life out right now. It's all pre-written. I've already lived this life many times. It's already written. It's just playing itself out again how it has time and time and time again before. That was fucking horrifying because that felt like the truth. Now, in the sober state, it's like, do I know if that was the truth? Do I know if it was just because I was tripping or not? I don't fucking know. It could have been just because I was tripping. But it was horrifying. That spiraled into sort of a bad trip where when we got to the top of Alta, I went to the bathroom because I felt like I had to piss, and then ended up having to throw up. And I just sat there over the toilet for 15 minutes trying to throw up. And I couldn't from the mushrooms because they make, like I said, they make you nauseous. And I was just hovered over the toilet, and I could not throw up. I could not figure out why either. And it felt like I was trying to start gagging myself because it felt horrible. It was like one of those horrible things, right? And it felt like demons were trying to get out of my body. It felt like I was trying to purge this negative energy that I built up from that deja vu, from seeing my sister, from like seeing the negative in people and the negative in myself. It was like trying to purge it, right? And now a lot of people are gonna have this experience where they have to purge out this negative energy, and it's like, or they go throw up or whatever it is, right? This isn't, far from uncommon in trips. That deja vu fucking horrified me because it made me realize, like, what if our life is just predetermined, pre-written? I mean, you're not gonna exactly have this experience. I think that was a very unique experience to me and me only. Not out of ego, but like genuinely every experience is unique to everyone. But I don't know, man. The main thing I got out of these trips was like, I need to be a better person. And ultimately that's what led me to want to self-improve in every aspect, physically. And that, like, I did that trip after I broke up with my most recent ex-girlfriend, which is traumatic at the time. Now I'm like, that's stupid. You were just a fucking 19-year-old, whatever, 18, 19. And it helped me reflect on that relationship a lot too. Like, when in the sober state before I did that last trip, I genuinely thought like, oh, she was the one, and I'm all sad now, I'm gonna be depressed forever. And I just felt miserable, and I didn't feel like doing anything. I started drinking every weekend and playing video games all day, and I fell into the dark spiral again. But when I did this trip, and when I did this trip, it kind of reset my brain on that and gave me a different outlook, different perspective. And not to mention, after the trip, after I got this different outlook, I started to look at life like, dude, we get one of these, and the beauty is literally in every moment. Not the success, while that is a great byproduct, of course, and it helps you build even more. That's the whole point of success, is to build onto further success. But it made me realize that success is not the ultimate, like, truth. It's not what really matters. What really matters is every single moment and spending it with love, whether that's giving love to others, whether that's doing what you love creatively, doing what you love physically, doing what you love, spreading love, feeling love, feeling gratitude, dude. It brought all of these things to my mind, and like for months after, I was like, my entire life was different. It's like my entire perspective shifted on reality and what my life was and what my life was meant to be. And that's why I started taking this seriously. Like, I know my videos hasn't been the highest quality, but like, I've posted like fucking 194 now or some shit. Dude, I've been fairly consistent in the last year. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I've tried my ass off, and I truly care about this, like designing new merch every couple months that fits with my current rhetoric of life and what you guys, I feel like, could relate to. having the school community with 16 courses that's free right now. I mean, it's gonna cost in the future just because supply and demand and well, not necessarily supply and demand. That doesn't really make sense for that, but because it's gonna be so high quality and I'm genuinely providing information. I want people to get shit out of it. And I want to make a living out of this so that I can do it full time and give it my full effort, right? That's why I'm going to have to charge in the future, not out of like, oh, I want to get rich and flex on you. Absolutely not. I'm in this with you guys forever, dude. No matter how rich I get, because of the mushrooms, they taught me this lesson. It's like, be humble. And that's why I respond to every comment. Every comment you guys put, I respond to. Every DM, dude. I talk to my fans. I don't even like to call them that because they're just humans who resonate with me. I like to talk to them one-on-one. And you know, that's what, if you want to join the school community, it's the first link in the description. And I got 15 courses in there, that's why I spend all my time on this. But the only reason I bring all that up right there again, you know, with the school community and the shameless plugging, is because the mushrooms brought that out of me in a sense. It kind of made me shift my perspective on reality, and it's like, it brought me a new unfound gratitude for life and everything in it, and my goals and my future. And before I was like, dude, I want to start a real estate business, a car business, I want to start this and this just to get rich and flex on people and live in mansions, buy Bugattis. But now I'm like, dude, I want to be financially free so that I can help people all day. You know, go out and feed the homeless, you know, spread this wisdom and information, help people one-on-one, coach people, like get people out of their fucking depression, out of the place of suicide, because I've been there, man. Help people and guide people and give people advice like this mushroom video. It's like, dude, I just want to be a guide for people, and I want to spend the rest of my life doing that, and I will. Mark my words, I will. This is the video where you'll go back and you'll be like, yeah, he was fucking right. That's what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. So if there's one thing you got out of this video about mushrooms, about psychedelics in general, really, is be careful with them, but they can bring you an unfound love for life, a different perspective. Honestly, they can change the course of your life. They can turn you into a new ordainer of your own destiny. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you got something out of it and you enjoyed my story, even though it wasn't that deep, I mean, if you want a more in-depth where I talk about every single event during the mushroom trip and every feeling, put it in the description. I'll make a video. It'll be like a 40-minute video, but I'm more than willing to make it. Just comment down below and let me know if you like that. But hopefully you got some lessons out of this shit, and hopefully you got some entertainment. And I'm glad I got to talk to you guys again, you know, one-on-one. This is what I like to do. Like, I just got done at the gym. I know it seems like I'm in nature, but dude, I'm in a fucking parking lot. Get pranked, you know, you walk the prank. But I just got done at the gym and I like making these videos. Like, I love connecting with you guys. I hope to connect to more people soon. It'll happen. We'll blow up, guys. If you're a part of the fucking community, the logo's on the back. Whatever, you can't see it, but you know my logo. I'll put it right here. Join the tribe. You're a part of it now, motherfucker. You're here. Welcome to the new age of your life. And on that note, we'll catch you in the next video. Vexed family.